What's going on, troopers? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. And today we got my man Preston Baker here to talk about all things nerding out and working out. Preston, thanks for the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So let's wind the clock back. February, Pacific Northwest. You and I hop on the phone to just talk training and fitness and your goals. What inspired you to reach out and then ultimately make the change?
Really, it was so I'm going to medical school, and so just in the process of studying and trying to do my best there, um, I kind of lost sight of where I was going physically. Gained some weight, and also was like on Instagram all the time, and I saw your posts and just thought they were super fun. And then just one day I was like, you know, I need to get fit. In the military as well. Like I need to be able to make sure that I can pass my physical tests. And so I was like, I need to do something here. And just while I was watching your reels, I was like, why don't I reach out and just see kind of how he does things, what's going on? Looks like a lot of fun. Looks like a good way to be able to get fit and stay fit.
Yeah. And so you got a lot of things going on then. You've got the military angle, you've got the dad angle, you've got the medical and like busy schedule angle. And so as you crossed the threshold and got started, what was like either your biggest concern or the thing that maybe you were like, man, how's this all going to work with all the plates that I'm juggling? Like, what was your thoughts kind of in that initial first week?
Yeah, it was definitely how is this going to work with all the things that I'm juggling. And that's what I needed help figuring out. I needed help figuring out how do I work out with the things that I have at home. And we had also moved relatively recently. And so the gym that I had been going to and um, all of basically the exercise and the schedule that I had set up had been dashed completely. And I'm doing rotations that change every 6 weeks. And so every 6 weeks, my schedule just gets totally ruined. And I have to just like come up with a new schedule, which for me, I thrive off of doing the same thing every day. And that was really hard for me. So I think my biggest concerns were consistency for myself, um, and being able to have the time to do it, being able to have the time to put towards getting more fit, losing some weight.
Yeah. And so between our like initial conversation and what you experienced maybe in the first couple weeks, what perspective shifts or what even just like made it seem a little bit more clear in terms of like, hey, here's how we can fit this all in? Because you've done a good job of making it happen. But what did you notice in terms of just a little tiny shifts, little tiny alignments, or were there some big things that you had to overhaul? Like I guess what shifts did you end up making?
Um, Actually, there was a lot of shifts that I made, and I kind of tested. If I'm honest, I'm still kind of testing the water as my schedule shifts around to what I'm doing. It's like a constant testing the waters of what's going to work. So in the very beginning, it used to be that I'd get up in the morning to exercise when I was really good at consistently exercising, and that just wasn't working anymore, and that was difficult for me, especially the first couple weeks. Uh, and so I had to change that up. We exercise a lot in the evening, um, and that's changed, with rotations and with schedule changing. So yeah.
Yeah. So for anyone that is maybe in medical school or doing something that is super variable, what would you say enables you to be successful, or what advice would you give them?
Um, Honestly, and even with like within Fit Nerd Academy, I just commented on somebody's post talking about this. It's like being a good starter every single time something changes up. Um, like being willing to whatever happened is in the past and just keep going. being able to just drop it, let it roll off the back of your shoulders and keep going. And honestly, I think weekly meetings with you have been super helpful because, it's like, oh, well, I've got this test I have to study for, or, I'm in my rotation from 7 in the morning till 8 or 9 p.m. at night. Like, I just don't have time to do some of these things. Talking with you, changing up exercise routines, having somebody to keep me accountable to those things, as well as somebody to advise me on how to change it up and be like, look, it's okay to change it according to how life's looking. Like, you can still meet your goals. We're going to change it to and cater it to what I was doing each time, and still try to reach those physical goals.
Yeah. I love that. And not a lot of people reference that, but either the idea of being a beginner and being okay with being a beginner or starting over again, because that's probably the most uncomfortable thing for people is change. And everyone wants to get into their comfort zone and stay there. But it sounds like you are used to things getting thrown curveballs and you're just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to adapt and get back on it rather than falling in love with what was. You're just accepting in a way what is.
I think I'm definitely getting better at it. I wouldn't say I'm good at it, but getting a lot better at it. And like I said, you've been really instrumental in me getting better at it. And I feel like, especially in fitness, that's really hard. You want a routine. You want something that you could go in every day. Like, this is what I do. I don't have to think about it, um, which is really helpful because you give that even when the situation changes.
Yeah, definitely. And just being adaptable.
It's
So
it's been a process.
totally. What would you say then to dads who are like, man, I gotta fit in, be a good dad. I gotta work out. Like what would be your advice to them?
Um, just do it. There's so many facets to it. I don't even know. Just same thing with the flexibility. If your kids need you, your kids need you. If your spouse needs you, your spouse needs you. Um, you got to fulfill those things. And then just also being open and honest with your spouse and with your kids if they're older and they can understand. Um, Being like, look, I'm being fit so that we can go out and do these things, or this is something that's important to me. This is something that is important for our future. To be a good example to your kids, be a good example to your spouse. Um, so that's big. And then, if you can, to involve your kids. And my kids have actually started, especially like yesterday, I was doing like some body weight stuff, and my little 1.5-year old came right down next to me and started doing little push-ups. And it was great to see that.
That's awesome.
When I grew up, my dad woke up really like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning and would work out. And I've never seen my mother work out. It's just never been something that's been important. Um, so I never got to see that. And so I think it's really important for my kids to see that, even if I do a little bit at home, where they can see dad's making an effort to keep himself fit. And it works, and he can continue to play with us. Those two things fit together. They're not two separate things.
Yeah. I love that. That as someone who's few weeks away from having a son myself, I'm like, man, what can I just like demonstrate as opposed to tell? Right? Like we can all sit from our high positions and high horses, be like, do this, but just like do and let them follow. And I got a feeling that that's how kids learn anyway. They do what you do as opposed to do what you say. Okay, so we got flexibility, we got demonstrating for the kiddos. What would be just like one other thing that you would say would kind of be like a key to success for maybe a younger version of yourself?
I would say, like, persistence. Uh, being persistent. We're never going to be perfect in anything that we do, um, and just continue to be persistent. I don't remember if we talked about this, but at the very beginning, I actually um, was diagnosed with depression as well, and I was taking medication for that, which was also very helpful getting me back on track. So that mental health aspect but it was just a persistence of like, I know things can be better. I know physically I can be better. I can feel better every day. So it was that persistence in like, I know that that goal is out there. I'm not there right now, but I know that I can get there. Um, and reaching out for help and getting there. So
Yeah.
I would say that third key is really just being really persistent.
I think the cool thing about one persistence is that it kind of ties in with what you're talking about with flexibility and just like letting go of expectations that it's going to look a certain way and just being able to be like, yeah, things happen, life throws you curveballs, but you just adapt and keep pushing on, which obviously like you're going to be a doctor, you probably know better than most, just like how much you got to just stick with it, given, studying and rotations and everything. And so it's cool to see someone who's got so many plates spinning, spin the plates. And then sometimes the plates fall and you're just like, big whoop, spin another plate.
They do. The plates fall all the time, every day. Yeah. So,
Yeah. At this point, you got a membership at IKEA and you're just like, yep, send in 10 more plates. We're ready to go. Um,
yeah.
cool, man. Any other final thoughts? Otherwise, I can let you go and have an awesome rest of your day.